Gentlemen, if you're listening to this episode within the first few days of its release, this month's Masterclass for Men is happening this coming Wednesday, May 28th at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. That's GMT-4 for those of you overseas. And this is a big one. It's called Reading the Room, the right move in any situation. Now, listen, guys, I fully get that you're probably not the guy who blatantly hears, read the room, dude, from people, at least not regularly. We all know that if and when that has to be said, we've already blown it socially. What this masterclass is about is powering you up with what I can only describe as finely tuned social radar. These are those advanced and sometimes counterintuitive skills few men ever even get around to thinking about. But being able to gauge what a group is all about, or even just one woman you're talking to, is what lets you calibrate to any situation, anywhere, anytime, with anyone. You can master the vibe in a way that makes you belong instead of simply trying to fit in. And yes, pick up on the hints and signals women have been probably sending you for years. If you're in a relationship with a woman now, it means no more wondering why she said what she said or did what she did. And best of all, you can and should remain 100% authentic at all times. You don't have to change who you are to read the room correctly. It's all about being the man who, well, flat out gets it. These are the advanced skills that separate you from the clueless herd of men who don't even ever think about this stuff. Get your ticket for this mission-critical masterclass for men at mountaintoppodcast.com/masterclass. That's mountaintoppodcast.com/masterclass. I look forward to seeing you for this live event this coming Wednesday night. And hey, as always, if you can't make it live, the download portal will be there for you shortly afterward. Once again, you can grab your ticket at mountaintoppodcast.com/masterclass. And now, here comes a truly unique episode featuring a topic we've never covered, all courtesy of my new friend, Raj Kedden. Enjoy.
Live from the mist-enshrouded mountaintop fortress that is X&Y Communications headquarters, you're listening to the world-famous Mountaintop Podcast. And now, here's your host, Scott McKay.
Oh, how's it going, gentlemen? Welcome to yet another episode of the world-famous Mountaintop Podcast. I am your host. My name is Scott McKay from X&Y Communications. You can find me all over social media at Scott McKay on X, on True Social, on TikTok, and on YouTube. You can find me at Real Scott McKay on both Instagram and Threads. The website, as always, is mountaintoppodcast.com. Lots of new and improved goodies for you there. And if you're not on the Facebook group, that is the Mountaintop Summit. We're waiting for you there, gentlemen. Lots of good discussions going on there. My first time guest is Raj Kedden, and he is from London, UK. And you guys want original topics? Well, you're about to get one. Today, we're going to talk about his 3-3 metaverse breathing method. And guys, you know, if you can control your breathing, if your aspiration is in order, then you can control a lot of the rest of what's going on emotionally and physically with you. I already know that. That's good stuff. And a lot of guys, you know, we tend to sort of hyperventilate and go into a mode where we don't even realize how our breathing is affecting us. And this can, of course, translate to better interactions with women, being a little smoother, perhaps even a little more suave when you're talking to women, and in those sexual situations where we can start acting like a hungry chihuahua instead of a real man when we're in front of a naked, hot chick. So without anything further, from London, UK, Raj Kedden, welcome to the show, man.
You're welcome, Scott. It's great to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Well, you're certainly welcome as well. I have to ask you, what caused this to be one of your passions in life? What inspired you to talk about breathing? Did you kind of stumble upon this, or is it something you've developed over time?
Oh, well, I've got a background in, believe it or not, metaphysics and philosophy. And it does encompass some of the more esoteric elements of yoga as well. But the most important thing is that it helps you to fulfill your potential. I'm also a coach for women as well. I'm a relationships coach. So I understand the female mindset and what they look for in guys. So hopefully we can score a few interesting sort of nuggets and wisdom bombs in that regard too.
Yeah, man. Well, first of all, bravo for actually having a philosophy degree and finding a way to make a real living off of that. I mean, first of all, that's pretty good. You pulled a nice little coup there.
I think if you can turn your vocation into your vacation and get paid for what you love to do, I think that's always a fantastic thing.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm into that. That's what we've been doing. Basically, I feel like I've been retired and on vacation for 19 years now, helping these guys around here get better with women because it's just so much fun to do so. You mentioned the Y word, which is yoga. And I think a lot of guys think, oh, come on, man, this guy's going to make me go do yoga. I mean, that's for chicks. I mean, what's next? Do I have to go buy Lululemon pants and spandex and look like that? But, I think a lot of times guys get a misconception about, first of all, yoga being feminine. If you are a yoga guy and you go to yoga classes, let's just say the ratio is really, really good for heterosexual guys at yoga class. But, I digress a little bit. What is it you're really talking about here? Am I going to have to get into yoga to do what you're talking about? Or can I just perform several little exercises here and there, or maybe get into a different mindset to do what you're talking about with this 3-3 metaverse breathing method?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think, first and foremost, I think a little bit of kind of re-education on the definition of what yoga is important as well to a certain extent. Because yoga actually means union. It doesn't mean, if it's a popular stereotype that you wear Lululemon and wear, spandex and whatever in a yoga studio, that's far from the real meaning of it. Yoga is actually union with your own power, your own energy. That's what it means fundamentally. So whether you're male or female, it doesn't matter.
Okay. So I've always kind of thought of yoga as being directly associated with breathing. Is that a correct assumption, or do I need to be re-educated as well?
Well, no, actually, you're right. It is part and parcel of the whole yoga science. And that's, so breathing is a very, very integral part. Without breathing, there is no union. There is no connecting with your power source.
Well, you also don't stay alive for more than the next 5 minutes, frankly.
4 minutes, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I guess it depends on how strong your brain cells are. 4 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever.
Yeah.
All right. So the first thing I want to ask you about the 3-3 metaverse breathing method before we dive into what it actually entails is, why bother? What's this going to do for me, Raj?
Well, you see, the thing is, it's interesting because in our school system, I was born in London, so I went through the same kind of Western mindset education as you did and as America broadly. So the thing is, they don't really teach you about breath and how important it is. Because if you think about it, Scott, you can live for 40 days without food. You can live for 4 days without water, but you can only live for 4 minutes without breath.
Well, I think it kind of comes naturally. You're born, you cry, you breathe.
Yeah.
It's not something we had to learn.
Correct. But there's a lot to it. There's a lot more to the breath than you would think. And I know because I've studied this for 25, 30 years. So I think when you begin to realize that what you've been taught about your environment is perhaps it's semi-true, but it's not fully true. There's a lot more to it than you think. And you'll only know that, when you start to take up a short course or a brief method that allows you to tap into this power. And once you see the benefits for yourself very quickly, like we're going to hopefully do on this podcast, you'll begin to realize that, I thought I knew a lot about what the body was, what the mind was, what the environment was. But I actually don't really know what that is because it's not been taught. I wasn't taught it. I had to teach it myself.
Well, honestly, truthfully, there are a lot of things in this life that we take for granted that we could really explore and do better at. So what are the benefits to us as men getting better with women for at least giving the 3-3 metaverse breathing method a chance?
Okay. Well, in this day and age, especially with, so much activity and goals and striving and running around, there's so much anxiety and stress that come from this. So some people don't know how to switch off. They turn to all kinds of meds. They see doctors, they see therapists, and, they could be on all kinds of meds with side effects for years, potentially. People also take meds for insomnia and sleeping disorders. So that affects your energy, which in turn affects your daily performance with your family, with yourself, with your body, with your work, with everything, right? Because you need energy for everything. So what you're able to do is dial down stress and anxiety by 50 to 60% in 3 minutes or less with the 3-3 metaverse breathing method.
Well, that's excellent. I mean, you know, we always picture the cop pulling a guy over who's getting a little excited, going, "Hey, buddy, relax, take a deep breath."
Yeah, right.
So I think at some level, even if it's archetypal, we realize that breathing helps us relax and calm down if we gain control of it. You know, I mean, sometimes we have to hold our breath. I mean, anybody who's a weapons guy knows that you have to hold your breath to pull the trigger. You don't go like hyperventilating. That's why things like winter biathlon in the Olympics are a sport. After all that cross-country skiing and that exercise that you're doing, your heart is racing, your breathing is going, and you got to gain control of it to fire a gun and hit the target. That's why it's sort of a cool sport and underrated, in my opinion, in the United States of America, because it involves a lot of mind and body control as well as physical fitness. So this is the kind of thing you're talking about, right? Is gaining control over your breath for the purposes of, well, better mental and physical well-being, especially in the moment, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Also, I think what's really important is to kind of understand what an altered state of mind means. For example, when you do the 3-3 metaverse breathing method, it puts you into an altered flow state of mind or consciousness. And why is flow state so important? Well, you've heard all elite athletes, elite performers at every level, whether they're, you know, playing tennis or they're runners or they're, you know, actors or whatever it is, opera singers. There's something called flow state, which you often have to work really, really hard to get to that point where you're in flow state. But no one really tells you how to get into flow state regularly, daily, and easily. No one really explains how you can do that, or even if it's possible.
Well, this is something the pickup artist talked about years ago, which is getting into states and having that flow. So I think we're all ears here because we already at least instinctively understand that this is important when it comes down to conveying ourselves as a masculine man who's in control of himself when we're around women.
Correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And if you can also relate it to, you know, popular culture, if you remember the Matrix films, you've got something called bullet time where everything slows down. That's what you do. When you get into flow state, you slow everything down. So you're hyper aware, super aware, and you have more ability to control happenings in your environment and in your life.
You know, as you're talking, I'm reminded of how they talk about professional athletes in basketball or American football, especially. I don't know if it happens so much in soccer, but I would assume so, where they talk about rookies versus guys who are veterans, been in the league for a few years, in terms of the game having slowed down for them. You hear this a lot when we're talking about guards in the NBA or quarterbacks in the NFL. You know, the stereotype is the rookie quarterback panics and throws interceptions and makes bad decisions. But once the guy's been in the league for a few years and becomes a veteran, he has much better field sense, understands the speed at which the game's played, makes better decisions. So ostensibly, at least, the game has quote unquote slowed down for him. So this is a very real phenomenon. I recognize that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you can know how to deliberately, the funny thing here is that because we've studied this technology, it's called mind or neurotechnology, something I'm very passionate about, then we don't have to be veterans at any sport. We can actually induce this ourselves.
All right. So I think it's time to talk about how to do this because guys are thinking, all right, the next time I see a woman I want to talk to, instead of going into hyperventilating hungry chihuahua mode, I want to be the guy you're talking about. I want to have control over my breath. I want the game to slow down and come to me. I want far less stress associated with this. I don't want the fight or flight response. I want to go into this Zen-like calm focus and flow state that you're talking about. So man, hit us with it. Tell us what to do.
Okay. So basically what you do is you first check your nostril flow. Okay. A lot of people, they never ever do this in their entire lifetime, but for us, we do this all the time.
Those of us with allergies understand what you're talking about intimately.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. So if we just do this quickly, Scott, so you block your right nostril and breathe out once through your left nostril. So you block the right and breathe out once through the left. And then you block the left and breathe out once through the right.
Well, wait, are you doing a farmer's sneeze over there, or are we just simply breathing?
No, we're just blocking one nostril and breathing out through.
Okay. I'm saying this because you sound a little stuffed up as you do.
So. Oh. Tiny bit, yeah.
You sound like an angry male lion. So, I mean, I just...
Ready to roar, yep.
Yeah. I mean, if you got the snot rockets going, maybe you need to be a little al dente with your breathing. But all right. So I understand. Okay. So continue.
Okay. So check if it's, is it 50-50 or is one a bit more stuffed up than the other? Would you say?
Well, hey, I took my Xyzal before I podcasted like a good boy. So I'm pretty free flowing in both.
Okay.
I'm like a cat back exhaust, man. I got this going.
Awesome. Okay. And on a scale of 1 to 10, Scott, how would you say you feel overall right now? 1 being terrible, 10 being amazing.
I'd call it about an 8.5.
8.5. Okay. Brilliant. Okay. Excellent. So what you're going to do, Scott, on this method, you breathe in 3 parts through the nose. Okay. And I'll
nostrils at the same time?
Both at the same time. You don't need to close any nostrils. So your hands free. You can be sitting up, with a fairly straight back, chin perpendicular to the ground.
All right, man. Make it happen, Captain. Let's do this. What do I do?
So it's 3 parts in through the nose like this. Sniff, sniff, sniff. I don't know if you can hear that or if the tech blocks out. Yeah, perfect. There you go. So, and then out of the mouth 3 times with an elongated exhale on the 3rd out breath. So it's like this. Let it come from the back of the throat, like you're saying ha ha ha, like you're laughing without the vocals, without the vocal cords. There you go. Good. But a bit more gentle, not forced, not sharp, not vigorous. You can be a bit more gentle with it.
Okay.
Okay. So again, that's better. Very good.
I already have a question. I have 2 pet whippets.
Yeah.
And they ostensibly breathe like this all the time, and they're both still high strung as hell. So this is just a human thing. It doesn't translate to canine function at all. Okay. Just checking. All right.
Yeah. But anyway, humans have the ability to consciously control themselves far more than dogs do because they're just automatic, creatures.
Ain't that the truth? Wow.
So again, I'll just run this through with you quickly. So sniff, sniff, sniff. Then there you go. Perfect. You did it really well. So we'll do this for a minute together. Okay, Scott?
Okay.
And what I want you to do, I want you to close your eyes and I want you to completely relax as much as possible.
Okay. Now, guys, if you're listening in, do this insofar as it's not going to humiliate you in public. So, yeah. I mean, otherwise save it for later. But yeah, guys, join in with us. Let's do this. Let's see if it works. All right. Go ahead.
So you relax. You don't have to force the breath. You don't have to maximally inhale or maximally exhale. You don't need to worry about any of that. Don't worry about the belly, the diaphragm, or the clavicles. You don't have to worry about any of that. Just keep your head.
Well, now that you've mentioned it, all I'm going to think about is belly, diaphragm, and clavicles.
Yeah, there you go.
Don't think about a pink polka dot elephant, right?
Yeah. No,
anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's okay. So it's nice to relax, and we'll go on a count of 3, and then we'll do a minute together.
All right. Before we start, Raj, I just want to let these guys know we're indeed going to do this for a full minute, as awkward as it may be in the context of a podcast, because we're going to see and feel results when we're done that are tangible, right?
Yes, exactly.
All right, cool. All right. So let's do the minute thing. Ready, guys? Join along with us.
All right. 3, 2, 1, and go. Okay, keep your eyes, stop there, Scott. Keep your eyes closed and just relax. Just relax as much as possible. And just feel and observe what's happening within with your eyes closed. And keeping your eyes closed, Scott, tell me what you notice and how you feel.
I feel as if, hey, you know what? First of all, this really worked. Kudos to you. I feel as if every cell in my being, every cell in my body has relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
I feel it even down to the tips of my fingers.
Yeah.
You know, I feel a relaxation just kind of extending through my extremities.
Correct. Exactly.
Did I nail it?
Absolutely. Let me ask you a few points here. You're going to see what happens.
I feel like that was a little first person and you could have filled in the blanks. So tell me what's typical. How do people typically explain how they feel after this? Because, a lot of the guys, if they were playing along, I'm sure they're feeling something similar.
Absolutely. So we've tried this with thousands of people, including large companies like Oracle and Novartis. So they all said the same thing. So listen, I'll just ask you a couple of questions here. So keep your eyes closed, Scott. Now, did you feel your heart rate slow down a bit?
I don't know if it did or not. I don't have a really awareness of my heart beating. You know, that would be kind of the thing that happens when you have arrhythmia, to know exactly what your heart's doing. So I didn't gauge it before we started. Okay. I do feel relaxed, but I can't offer any kind of valid response to that question because I don't know where it was beforehand. It's certainly not racing now.
Exactly. That's fine. Now, have you noticed the mental chatter that most of us have in this, busy world, the monkey mind, they call it, which is always chattering on? Have you noticed all those kind of thoughts dial down or reduce a bit, the mental chatter?
Well, I would imagine if I did this with the benefit of solitude, I would. I can acknowledge that, but, I have to keep my brain engaged because I'm doing an interview here for a podcast. So perhaps the mental chatter is not particularly relevant to our existential experience here in the moment, but I can imagine that certainly that monkey mind you're talking about would have calmed down quite a bit. It's kind of a meditation exercise, isn't it?
It's a whole mind-body reset. So when people do this, they find that the monkey mind chatter absolutely silences. So you can't hear anything. It's all relaxed, peaceful, quiet, and you feel in touch with yourself, with your true power. So do you feel a mental expansion beyond the body, Scott, with your eyes closed? Do you feel a sense of growing awareness, like beyond the body? Do you feel anything like that?
Well, I don't feel like I'm on an ayahuasca trip or anything, if that's what you're referring to. Maybe a little bit. But again, I think what's going to be a much better crucible in which to evaluate what's going on here would be outside of the podcast environment where I could do it in privacy and not be having a conversation with someone. Then I'd probably experience more of the fullness of what you're talking about.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt here. I could definitely see and feel where what you're talking about would exactly be the case, but I felt it physically.
Yes, exactly.
And I do feel calmer and more relaxed. So go ahead. Tell us more.
So basically what's happening is you're experiencing flow state, and this is just a 60-second sampler because we taught clients to do this for 2, 3, 5, even 7 minutes. And once you do it at that level, the effect compounds on itself. And then you really start to see what happens in terms of your cognition, your stress level, your ability to fall asleep if you have insomnia. But within 30 to 90 seconds of people doing this, even if they've had insomnia for 5, 10, or 15 years, they just fall asleep. And they sleep for 6 hours and they don't wake up.
Well, that's remarkable.
Yeah.
How did you happen upon this particular sequence?
Because in our tradition, which is very esoteric from Vedanta, yoga philosophy, they teach all kinds of ways to alter your state of mind and get into flow state, which is your natural state of being. Life should not be difficult. It should be a flow. And if you're not in harmony with flow, everything seems difficult and hard and you're struggling. But we shouldn't really be struggling like that.
Now, this isn't in conflict with any of our faith-based beliefs, right?
No, not at all.
It doesn't matter which God you pray to. This isn't going to be some kind of, apostasy from your faith or anything, right?
Not at all. If you have a brain, you're breathing, you're a human, it'll work for you.
Okay, so here's my question from a practical perspective.
Yeah.
We've established there's value to this. I'm with you 100% on that. And by the way, guys, I'm into this sort of stuff because the weirder it sounds on the surface in terms of your mind and body, the more amazing it is to me when it works. So I'm always exploring this sort of stuff. You guys know I have a partnership with Rob Brinded and James Knight because of the weird exercises they have you guys do to help you walk better and get your body more aligned. So this is right along those same lines, and I love it. And I'm actually going to use it personally. My question for you going forward from actually having done the exercise with you right now, Raj, on this podcast is, practically speaking, how long does this effect last? And here's why I ask. Can a guy sit in his pickup truck before he goes to a grocery store at 10 a.m. on a Saturday morning knowing all the hot girls in, well, Lululemon pants are going to be there, and have this effect carry throughout his entire trip to the grocery store?
Absolutely.
All right, so how long does it last?
The effect, if you do it for 1 minute, it will last at least 45 minutes to an hour.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah. If you do it for 2 or 3 minutes, it will last for 2 or 3 hours.
Okay, so a simple 2 or 3 minute investment in the 3-3 metaverse breathing method before a chick comes over your house for the first time will turn you basically into James Bond for the entire evening.
Correct.
That's excellent. So is there anything else we need to know, or is this at prima facie as easy and simple to do as it seems?
I wanted to give you the most easy and accessible way that your listeners could try something right away and get the benefit from.
Okay, so we have a few minutes left. Is there any little level of complexity that maybe we could tolerate here that would give us exponentially greater value quickly?
You see, the thing is, kind of going back to the wider reason why we're doing this is because our company is inspired to help 1 billion people reach 100 years old happily and healthily. Now, using this method, it can apply to so many different people of so many different demographics with so many different, situations and health challenges and life challenges. So what we're doing is we're speaking to different people like yourselves who want to bring it to their audience for their specific benefit and their whatever their challenges may be. So all you need to do is compound the effect by doing it for 2, 3, 5, or 7 minutes at a time. And you'll start to see the depth of the effect and what it can do for your entire relationship life with females, with your parents, with your colleagues at work, with your neighbors.
With your crazy whippets.
Yeah, even with your dogs and animals, because they feel when you're in flow state, there's less resistance, there's less drag on you, right?
Now, hold on a second. This is an important point.
Yeah.
Men who are head of household, your wife will follow your lead.
Yes.
Your kids will follow your lead.
Yes.
I mean, when you're acting as a masculine man who's a provider and a protector, they will be stressed and they will be upset when you're stressed and upset.
Correct.
When they feel like you got this, they relax as well. So as a leader of both men and the woman in your life and your family unit, this is an incredible arrow to put in your quiver. It's a wonderful component to your toolkit. Not to be missed, I do think that the animals in your household, your dogs and cats, respond as well. I've seen that. Yeah. Even infants. Like we had our little daughter on a trip to India, and probably firsthand that India can become very chaotic very quickly. And we're seasoned travelers, and she was only 4 months old. While we had a 4-month-old baby in India is another whole story for another whole podcast. But she was chill, and we were all enjoying ourselves until we had a situation where we were lost and had traffic flying around us, and we're wondering how we were going to get out of it. Then our baby daughter got stressed and started crying. So even that tiny little child could pick up on what we're talking about here. Yeah, this is big stuff. I'm so glad you joined us on this show today, Raj, because I love any little advantage that we can give guys that helps them. And I think this isn't a little advantage. I think it's a big one. And if I sound like I'm giving you effusive praise, it's probably because we did it and it worked. These guys know that I thought Rob Brinded was the craziest guy on earth when I first heard him on a David D'Angelo disc about 15 years ago. And when I met him in person, he says, "No, well, that's fine. I get that a lot." I told him, I said, "Your ideas sound just nutso." He goes, "Oh, yeah, happens all the time. Try a couple of them."
Yeah.
And I made friends with him immediately, and I felt my shoulders relax and my head raised, and I just felt more like a man because, he had me flex my elbows and stand on a tennis ball for, a few seconds. It was amazing. Next thing you know, I'm running all the marketing for his stuff to this day.
Wow.
Because it works. Every little advantage these guys can get, I think, is just fantastic because 99.9% of the men out there have never heard of what you're talking about, at least not yet. I mean, podcasts like this one and your website will help guys gain awareness to that. But man, anytime in this crazy politically motivated world full of manipulation and gaslighting that we can calm down and relax, it's just like a nuclear weapon, like a superpower if we can embrace it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. I want to send these guys to your website, and we're going to make it mountaintoppodcast.com/breathe. I'm sure we've never issued that URL before. BREATHE. That will teleport guys to keepfitkingdom.com. What are they going to find when they get there, Raj?
When they get there, they're going to find lots of articles on health and fitness and wellness and motivation. But if they click the tab 33 products, I think that's where they're really going to dial into this specific technique. We've got a whole area dedicated just to this. You've got testimonials from the NHS, which is the National Health Service, Novartis, which is a huge medical company, as well as Oracle, the software company, owned by, of course, Larry Ellison. They've all tried this method, and they're absolutely blown away. And you can read all their testimonials, and you can watch their videos and everything. And you can ask questions via WhatsApp and email us. And you can buy the tutorial. There's a tutorial you can download. You can buy that. And there's a poster and all kinds of things that you can learn about it.
That's all wonderful. But I'm tempted to ask, why would I need to pay for a tutorial when you've already demonstrated how simple this is? How advanced does this particular art or science become for us?
Well, there's a lot in terms of inquiries we get about how to apply it for all types of different scenarios and how long it works and for what kind of situations it's best in and so on. So we get endless inquiries about that, and we've got lots of people wanting us to do it in, corporations and doctors and therapists and things like that. So there is a lot to the science, and we've just given you a very small kind of snippet just so you can, see how it can potentially help you and your audience. But there's quite a bit more to it. So people they're happy to buy that and find out more and put it
So it's kind of like a practical guide for daily use.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's good. That's really helpful for sure. Well, Raj Kaden from London, UK, he is the originator and developer of the 3-3 Metaverse breathing method. And Raj, thank you so much for being on the show. This has been definitely unique and absolutely helpful. I really appreciate meeting you, and I'm very appreciative also of the work you're doing. Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome, Scott. It's nice to get this different kind of angle and perspective on helping your listeners and followers. So any questions, feel free to email us, and we'll be happy to help. So
yeah, I imagine that you're usually on health and wellness and Eastern kind of podcasts. And this is probably a much different audience for you, but I think you hit it out of the park in terms of how to apply it. So excellent stuff.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. So guys, go ahead and head over to mountaintoppodcast.com. Check out our 3 longtime sponsors, Jocko Willink's company Origin in Maine, the Keyport, and also Hero Soap. And when you use the coupon code Mountain10, you'll get an additional 10% off. Guys, I want to talk to you. Get on the phone with me. Let's talk about how we're going to take you from where you are right now with not enough women in your life or not the right ones or a girlfriend who's driving you crazy and get your life straightened out and get you on the path to having the right woman in your life once and for all. You can get on my calendar with a very simple one-step link at mountaintoppodcast.com. We'll talk for 25 minutes or half an hour about what you got going on. And if you have any ideas for how to make the podcast better or topics you'd like for us to talk about, that is your chance to grab the mic and let me know. Always appreciate talking to you guys. All of that and more is there for you at mountaintoppodcast.com. And until I talk to you again real soon, this is Scott McKay from X&Y Communications in San Antonio, Texas. Be good out there.
The Mountaintop Podcast is produced by X&Y Communications. All rights reserved worldwide. Be sure to visit www.mountaintoppodcast.com for show notes. And while you're there, sign up for the free X&Y Communications newsletter for men. This is Ed Roy Odom speaking for the Mountaintop Podcast.